Hello, everyone. This is Rob, and welcome back to Meteorness, where the crazy cats are jumping around in the background. If you liked my content, please click the like button. Consider commenting below. Let me know your thoughts. You're also welcome to. What are they doing? Alright, you're also welcome to message me on my personal Facebook. You'll find the link to that in the description below as well. And if your message does get filtered into my spam folder, I do check it daily, so I will find it and I will respond to you personally. This video will be focusing on Dune and my thoughts on the announced HBO original series, The Sisterhood, which was announced when Danny Villeneuve started making part one of Dune. And I found it interesting because there is a book titled Sisterhood of Dune. However, when Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson write their novels, titles can be misleading, I have found, and it just because a book is titled Sisterhood or Mentats or Guild or whatever, it doesn't mean that the book solely focuses on that particular topic. So my thoughts are that Sisterhood is probably going to chronicle the beginnings of the Bene Gesserit when they were the sorcerers of Rossack. And there was a particular sorceress named Zutha Senba, and she had a daughter named Norma. And Norma was not what Zutha would have liked Norma to turn out as. So she was stunted, she was very intelligent, able to compute mathematical computations in her mind that were beyond most people's comprehension at that point in time. So what I believe is going to happen is the Sisterhood of Dune series is more than likely going to chronicle the events of the Butlerian Jihad through the subsequent trilogy. So probably 6 books is what I'm thinking. Initially, though, it's probably going to be covering the Butlerian Jihad. Now, if you're not aware, the Butlerian Jihad was a war that took place against humans and machines, because machines had become too aware, and thus this edict became known, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't think I have it exact, but thou shalt not make a machine in the likeness of man. And it's kind of applicable even today with different artificial intelligence programs and making certain that they have their own limitations, so to speak. The interesting parts of this are the fact that the Atreides and Harkonnens were once friends for a time. They didn't start out that way, but they were for a time, and they worked well together for a time. In particular, a gentleman known as Xavier Harkonnen and Vorian Atreides. So, for several years, that they were the best of friends. Vorian's father, however, was one of the Titans, which were disembodied humans who chose to have their brains removed from their bodies and placed in these canisters, which could be swapped from one form to another, as far as mechanical mechanisms, to give them more range of motion, more mobility, and of course, being that they were not confined to a body, essentially eternal life. So the Titans went on for some time. Vorian is the son of Agamemnon, one of the Titans. He was actually brought about by stored sperm that Agamemnon was wise enough to put aside to have children. But the only one that really lived up to his expectations to a certain point was Vorian. So how did the Butlerian Jihad start, and what exactly is it? The Butlerian Jihad varies depending on the sources you look at. There is controversy among die-hard Dune fans of Frank Herbert, that will not acknowledge the expanded universe that Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson so carefully crafted. And there are those of us who accept it and enjoy it and appreciate it for its artistic merit. I do. I think Brian and Kevin did a great job. There are these contradictory factors between the history of Dune as outlined in a book that was published some years ago and what Brian and Kevin decided to do with their prequels. And this leads me to believe that in the notes that were recovered that Frank Herbert left behind, he himself may have changed things. But we will never know because those notes were private between Brian and Kevin and the family. So if Frank decided to change his lore of his world, and it was reflected in Brian and Kevin's work in terms of the books they wrote, prequels and sequels, it's perfectly legitimate. Even if it's not, we have some amazing prequels and amazing sequels. A lot of people also criticize the writing style, saying it's not reflective of Frank Herbert's work. They're two different authors, and Frank Herbert had his own style. So to write in his style, while yes, it could be theoretically done, it wouldn't be respectful, in my opinion. And I think that Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson did a phenomenal job with their prequels and sequels to Dune. So, the Butlerian Jihad is a war between men and machines. Not just the Titans, who are also referred to as Cymex, as they have mechanical forms, but there is also the robotic faction, the the Evermind, as it's called, Omnius, which was created by man, yet because of not thinking ahead of problematic factors that could occur, Omnius began to stretch out and spread, much like a virus. Omnius had a cohort in his circle of robotic entities, one named Erasmus. Erasmus gained a certain level of sentience when he was stranded for some time and unable to move for more time than he could actually keep track of. So once he returned to the service of Omnius, he had his own identity and he did not want to give it up. There are so many factors that led to the Butlerian Jihad between the machines attempting to overstretch their territories and humans being taken to work as slaves by the machines and to be experimented on horribly at times. But the most traumatizing event in the extended Dune history by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson is when the robot Erasmus throws one of our main characters, Serena Butler, her son, Mannion, to his death. And the people rebel. And that's the spark that lights, that ignites the Butlerian Jihad. It's chronicled in 3 novels: The Butlerian Jihad, The Machine Crusades, and The Battle of Corrin. And there are other subplots that occur, and some involve one of the sorceresses, Arasek, and the fact that they are computing these genetic manipulations even back then. If you're wondering why the lighting has changed, I have a headache and I needed to turn off the overhead. So, some of the key plot points. Zufasanva's daughter, Norma, becomes the individual responsible for discovering how to fold space. And I mentioned this earlier, but she does so by ingesting a massive amount of spice. This is also where spice becomes a rather prized commodity, as a Tlalexu slave trader who visited Arrakis, Dune, had discovered that a glass of water in a bar cost more than a glass of spice beer, and he began poking around, asking questions, and found the spice and realized that it could be a game changer as far as financial means. What he did not realize is that it would be a game changer for the universe, as faster than light travel would become obsolete in favor of space folding technology, which was based on Theo Holtzman's principles. Another character that you meet in this trilogy, Norma Senva interns under him until fate deals him a rather unkind blow. But he was arrogant and thought that he was untouchable. Eventually, the machines are pushed back to one world, the world of Corrin. This is after the other synchronized worlds, as recalled. Those are worlds under the control of Omnius, the Evermind, or the computer mind, if you want to be less technical. And a face-off ensues between the free worlds with the Harkonnens and Vorian Atreides working together, and the machines on Corrin. And there are slaves also on Corrin, but there is this moment referenced in many books called, it's known as the Bridge of Rethker, and it's explained very well because it's essentially a string of containers, like cargo containers, that the machines threaten the free worlds with, saying if they attack, they will detonate the explosives, I believe, and destroy the humans inside these containers. And this is where the Harkonnens and the Atreides come to odds really with each other, because Vorian Atreides was raised around machines his entire life, so he knows how they think, or rather how they compute, whereas the humans don't. And there is a moral dilemma if they should attack or not. And as I stated, I believe that all of these plots will be covered to some degree in the HBO original series of Sisterhood. I have no doubt, because it's the perfect opportunity to tell this large-scale story. And it's all written, so they wouldn't be waiting on any books to come out. They could just go with the source material. And of course, Brian and Kevin's advisory status. So, It's an amazing trilogy of books, and I believe that the show Sisterhood is going to depict these rather trying times. And if I were you, I would read the Butlerian Jihad, Machine Crusades, and the Battle of Corrin. They are three phenomenal novels, very well written. Kevin and Brian are fantastic together. They both play off each other's strengths, and the writing is top notch. It's not Frank Herbert's writing, as previously stated, but it's something that as you read, you are drawn in by. So I hope you liked my sort of overview of the Butlerian Jihad, Machine Crusades, and Battle of Corrin, as well as my speculations on the HBO series Sisterhood of Dune, or Sisterhood. Not sure what title they're going to go with, but we shall see. If you like my channel, like my content, or if this is your first time watching me, feel free to browse my array of videos and decide if you'd like to become a subscriber. I cover mainly music, films, literature now. This is my first literature review. And I cover some more esoteric topics here and there related to music, some not, but typically there's music or movies somehow, or literature somehow intertwined into my videos. You can comment below what you can like this video, share it with someone. You can also contact me directly, as stated at the beginning of the video, at my personal Facebook, which you'll find the link in the description as well. My Patreon link will be in the description. You can check out what's there as far as perks I offer. However, the site is still not up and running. It's almost there. So you can at least let me know if you want to become a Patreon member, and you can view the perks that I do offer there. And those will be expanding as time goes on as well. So, this is Rob with Media Awareness, and I hope you enjoyed this look into the early years of the Dune universe and what's to come for us as viewers, and books to definitely consider reading, as they are really phenomenal. I'll talk to you all soon. Have a good night. Bye.